Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Hannah and this is going to be part 5 of the apartment build series where I will be building an apartment and a communal space for The Sims. Can you guess what the communal space is going to be? Starting out on this apartment, and if you hadn't noticed already, all of the apartments kind of have some sort of theme to them because I thought this would be really fun if each apartment had a different theme and really reflected like the person that lives there. And so choosing this theme was pretty difficult, but I did get there in the end. So I landed on like an elderly couple, which I didn't realise until I'd already done it. I was like, that is not the best idea to put 2 elderly Sims in the highest apartment without a lift in the building, but you know, we move, it's fine. They might be really healthy elderly people, like really physically fit, who knows. Because I initially started this trying to be like, okay, it's going to have like sort of a sense of elegance to it, but then it slowly just sort of tumbled downhill into becoming like just grandma's apartment, which is fine. It just took me in a different direction than I was planning to go. The only thing I would say in hindsight about this build is I could have maybe done the floor plan a little bit better, but for some reason I went really quirky with it. I mean, I don't know if it's quirky or just badly designed, but you know, you can decide that for yourself from watching. But I loved the dining room that I made, and it took me a while to sort of decide on the kitchen, but I was like, the most sort of like, I don't know, elderly person kitchen is like the one from the cottage cutback, I feel like. But let's also address the elephant in the room today, which is that this video is like a week late. Well, not a week late. It's a day late in terms of I didn't post it on my usual schedule. However, it's like 3 weeks late of where I wanted to upload it because I've been away from my setup recently and not been able to access a lot of my things, so I've just been uploading shots and things in between times, but I've been wanting to do more full-length videos, but I just don't have the means to do that at the moment as much as I would like to. And as well, you'll probably notice in this video that the quality of the audio is probably not, I mean, I'm not saying it's amazing most of the time, but it's not as good this time because I have to record this with my phone, because my microphone and everything to do with my setup is like 300 miles away from me right now. But that is a whole thing that no one needs to know, like the story of my life and what's going on, unless anyone's interested, but it's not very interesting. It's just life happens, I guess, is the best explanation for that. But anyways, let's get back to actually talking about the build rather than talking about all of the joyful things of life that cause issues with my YouTube channel. But yeah, so I'm just making the bedroom at the moment, and just it was quite hard to place things because like it was a big like blank space, but I kind of wanted it to be like that because I feel like a lot of older people's bedrooms are like that. And then with the second bedroom, I did some wood paneling, and I kept that white so that it was still kind of the same vibe as everything else, but like it's, I don't know, it just gives more of an old people vibe, like that kind of wood paneling being inside. But I don't know if that's just because the house that I grew up in had that, like when it was first built, which was, I don't know, it's probably built in like the 60s or something. And so like it just makes me think that it's that kind of thing. But anyways, and yeah, so I first started doing this room for the this little like reading room study kind of area, and I just didn't notice that I'd got these bookshelves that were way too high for the wall height, and so they were just you could just see with the lighting the way that they're poking out of the top. It looks so funny now that I'm looking at it. And I mean, I did notice this going through the build and changed them, but just the fact that at the beginning I hadn't until this very point, and then I was like, and I've covered the window, so that's not the best idea, so let's rejig this whole room and try and work out what we're supposed to be doing here. And so these weren't my first choice of bookshelf, but they weren't too bad, so they still fit the room. They're probably a little bit darker than I wanted, but they're still cute, so it's fine. Trying to make a living room fit into this area was actually quite hard. because I just hadn't really thought enough about that. And I think maybe I should have, maybe I shouldn't have had the wall in between the little like study area, and I should have just had like the living room set up as it was, or maybe just moved everything around entirely, like the kitchen and the living room, if they swapped and I removed the wall. Maybe that would work better. But like everything, you know, hindsight's, is it 2020 or whatever they say? But yeah, I'm actually pretty happy with how it came out in the end, as much as I do sound like I'm just complaining about this build the whole time. Yeah, I think because I just wanted to do like a different layout than I did for the rest of them. But as always, we are just about done with this part of the video. So let's move into the screenshots and then we'll get on to the second half of this build. On to the second half of this build. Now, when I say this took me forever, it took me forever. Oh my goodness, I have so many recordings of the different times I attempted to build this area, in this communal area in the apartments. It took so long, and then I ended up making it basically kind of exactly how I wanted it to be initially, and how I tried to make it, but I just failed so many times until I got to something that I was actually happy with. Because I was like, and by now you can see that I'm creating like a sort of gym space at the moment. But I was like, you know, like gym space, like that's more functional than like decorative. I don't need reference images to do this. I don't need any inspiration. I'll just place things and it'll look really cool. And spoiler alert, it did not. And that is why I have redone it so many times. And as well as it being a gym, I decided to make a spa and sort of like a sort of gym, spa, recreational space for everyone in the apartments to use. So in this room we have the gym, and in the next room we have a yoga studio. I probably could have laid out a couple more mats in this room, but I just think it looks nicer this way. And this, to be fair, this was a little bit inspired by one of the pre-made rooms that they have for a yoga studio from the, is it like the spa retreat pack or something like that? I don't know. But so it was loosely inspired by that, as well as some reference images. And then it brought the whole idea together, because there was loads of pieces from the pack that I don't think I would have used without looking at those pre-made rooms for inspiration. Like those little stools with lights on, like I don't think I ever would have thought of. I mean, I think they're tables, but anyway. And then we were building these two little spa like sauna and steam rooms, even though functionally they do exactly the same thing, but I feel like because one's stone and one's wood, it gives a different vibe, like in gameplay, I guess. And then I'm building a little treatment room for like massages and things, and a bathroom for everybody to use as well. And that room in the corner is where the hot tub's gonna go. And my goodness, I failed at that so many times, and I still didn't love it in the end, but I was so close to my breaking point. But with the treatment room, I was actually very happy with how it was coming out. And so for the treatment room, I put the sort of cladding on the wall, which I think is from the Get Famous pack. And I just think it adds to the vibes. There's no other reason as to why I put it there. It's just vibes. And then I'm using like lots of other little side tables and stuff that I don't think I ever would have used from this pack. And I guess this whole like section of the build was just an excuse for me to use the spa retreat pack. And I did this before Businesses and Hobbies came out, this build. I'm only just now being able to edit this video and add the audio, but this would have been a very cool idea for me to set up as a separate building away from the block of apartments had I known that Businesses and Hobbies was going to be coming out. But that is something that I can revisit at a later day, I'm sure, and I'll just have to come up with a different idea for a spa that time. But yeah, I think it's really, really cool, and I have so many ideas of what I'm going to make with the Businesses and Hobbies pack and with lots of other video ideas. But again, I am limited at the moment due to the fact that I am nowhere near my computer setup. But that is fine. We just move on. We keep going. We vibe. And so I'm just trying to put like opposite textures on all of the spaces so that they both have wood and stone in them. And then I just did like 2 mirrored bathrooms with like it has access from one door into both bathrooms, and then they're gender neutral, anyone can use them, and hopefully there won't be any issues. And I made them very like stock the same because I just didn't want to deal with like making a perfectly intricate bathroom when it is a communal space anyways, because it just seemed a bit silly to put like all of that design into it, and it's like actually it would just be like very like corporate kind of looking. And the hot tub stressed me so much, as I have mentioned already. But like there's another hot tub and I can't remember which pack it comes with. I think it's the patio stuff maybe, but I don't have that pack. But I think that hot tub would have looked amazing in here. But unfortunately I don't have it, so I was trying to make do and try to like disguise the hot tub that I do have. The natural stone is fine and I think it matches the vibe, but I just don't, just the amount of it doesn't look great, so I was trying to kind of cover it up with some half walls and a whole thing. But anyways, we're just about done with the second half of this video and the entire video, so let's get into the screenshots. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this series as much as I enjoyed putting it together for all of you. If you have any ideas for series in the future, let me know. And I've uploaded the empty shell of the apartment block as well, so feel free to tag me in all of your creations and let me know. I'm so excited to see what you guys do with it. And with that, I'll see you next time.